Dumelang guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Renila Staka, also go by the name Reni. If you are already a subby and you're just returning, welcome back. So today's DIY will be, I'll be upcycling these baskets that I bought from Pep Home. They were very inexpensive baskets, but however I wanted to change them into the vibe that I liked. So basically what intrigued me and interested me in DIYing these baskets is that I wanted baskets for my living room and my bedroom. The main one that I really wanted them for was my living room. Why is that? Because during winter, cold weather, cold season, we have a lot of throw blankets in the living room. They basically go everywhere. They go everywhere. On the couch, they just get thrown all over the place, and it makes the living room look cluttered and makes the living room look very untidy. Even when you have it cleaned up, it doesn't take long for it to look like that again. So what I wanted to do was create this beautiful, aesthetically pleasing baskets to have sit in the living room, so whenever you're done using a throw blanket, you can just fold it up and put it back inside the basket. And you can also use this for many things. You can DIY this into a planter. You can DIY this into just a simple basket, a laundry basket that you can put things in. You can also utilize these baskets to hide a lot of cording and cabling. If you have a lot of cables running down on the floor, you can just simply put them in the basket and it will stop being an eyesore for you. Basically, you can do a lot with these baskets. You can also use them as some storage system in your house. You can use them to store things, your shoes when you walk in, your winter stuff, or your summer things when you put them away during the winter, or when you put away your winter clothes during the summer. You can utilize these baskets for a lot of things. Obviously, I'm utilizing it for my bedroom and for the living room. So with that being said, let us get into these DIYs. What I wanted to do was I wanted to actually create these DIYs from things that you might possibly have in your house, and also things that you don't mind going out to get, or you might also have in your garage. I don't know things that you have at your house. You do. It'll be kind of weird if I knew what you have at your house, don't you think? But anyways, I went to things that you can find around the house, but also things that you can go out and buy if you're willing to go out and buy them. So with that being said, I'm not going to waste any time. Let us get into our basket DIY. So for this DIY, I'm using some jute rope that you can get at any hardware store, and I'm also using cotton twine that I have left over from other DIYs that I attempted but failed, but you've never seen before. So I'm also going to be using that, but I'm also in putting in something that you might have in your house, which is a shirt, a t-shirt that you probably don't use anymore, that you have in your house. We all have those clothes that we don't wear anymore. So yes, donate clothes and everything, but I'm pretty much sure you can spare one shirt that you don't use anymore and you can add it into this DIY. And I basically wanted to also incorporate something that you don't have to go out and buy, and you can just add into your basket and make it look aesthetically pleasing and give it a great finish. Go right ahead and use this old t-shirt that was once white but turned into cream color. So this is what you're going to do. You're just probably going to put your t-shirt upside down and into your basket, and then it's going to cover that. So basically that's how easy it is to work with this. So obviously you could just simply leave it like that and you don't have to sew the bottom or anything like that, for those who don't have sewing machines, or you don't have to glue it down. So in my case, I'm not going to glue it down. I'm not going to sew or glue or anything like that. I'm just gonna leave it just like that. And I'm just going to go right ahead and use my hot glue gun for the edges. And then we can go right ahead and start gluing the sides and everything like that. But however, since I'm not all the way worried about this and I don't have to work out how it looks, I am going to go start doing my jute rope from the bottom going all the way to the top. As soon as you make our way to the top, I will put the shirt back in and cover up the edges. I'm okay with working without the top, because honestly I feel like this fabric is going to give me a bit of a hustle while it's on the inside, while I'm working on the outside. So we are going to go right ahead and take our rope and start gluing it at the bottom. Obviously you can go with thick rope, you can go with thin rope. This is the best part about DIYing things. You get to choose and control how you like something. Ever bought something and you wish, okay, they should have used this kind of color, or I like it but I would have used a different texture or a different fabric or something. When you DIY, you are in control of the whole creative part of it and how it looks and the finish of everything. That's what I like about DIYing things. And also the fact that you get to have something in your household that is not necessarily in every single household that you'll ever walk into. You get that unique thing and it becomes a conversation piece of, where did you get that? And you're like, oh, I made it myself. And then they're like, oh, how did you make it? It looks so good. I thought it's store-bought. It looks store-bought. Not that I've ever had anyone come to my house and tell me something I've done looks store-bought. No. But anyways, it's nice to dream. And I'm pretty much sure once I finally have people come over my house, it will be a conversation. Something in time. It will be a conversation. So I went ahead and I glued the jute rope around this basket. Honestly guys, you can glue the jute rope on top of the jute rope and that will be fine. It's just I wanted to use this basket as more of great structure for my basket. So I ended up wrapping up the jute rope all the way to as close as possible to the top. I ran out of jute rope and I decided I'm going to incorporate some cotton twine to the top to add that decorative piece and personal touch to it. So this is a little workout that I decided to go through to work out the length of the cotton twine, and then I went right ahead and I knotted it right at the top as tight as possible, and I started dividing all the cotton twine in groups of 6, so 3 groups of 6, so I can start braiding. This is a simple braiding technique that I'm using. Basically I'm not going with tight braids, I'm basically going as loose as possible because I want it to be as thick as it can be. So if you don't know how to braid guys, I suggest that you go on YouTube and you check out braiding videos. I don't know if I'll be able to explain how to create a simple braid. Basically you working right left right left right left by putting each and every single one that you take from the right, you put it in the middle, you take from the left and you put it in the middle. That's just how it works. If you don't understand, I suggest you actually definitely check out a YouTube video on braiding. I don't mind doing it. Have these like that, and then have them probably cross over each other and hang off like that, and this becomes chic, if I should say so myself. What I'm noticing is when it's like this and I push it backwards like that, it becomes wider and it's more decorative. And luckily I do not have extra enough to go draping in the front, so I'm not worried about it shortening all the way up and then I end up having less to work with. So I'm just pushing it back as I do it and then it becomes wide. So fast forward, I'm just gluing everything down and working out which side I want to go over which side. And then as soon as I had figured that out, I glued everything down. And then obviously I wanted to drape in a certain way that I can keep it in that place. So I'm just slightly going a bit lower and gluing down the braids to the basket, as you can see as I'm doing right now. And then I went to the bottom of these knots so I can work out the length. As you can see, the lengths are also being varied and they're different, so I'm unknotting it and knotting it all over again and then cutting it to the same length so you can have a nice clean finish at the end. And then obviously I'm going over each twine and I'm unraveling it so it can be, you know, fluffy. What our basket looks like. This is so cute guys, if I should say so myself. And we're going to basically take our shirt upside down, put it in the basket, have it around the edges. But now we gotta be like creative with how we wrap it around the edges, because we do not want to cover our decorative piece that we spent a whole lot of time on. So I am going to put this glue right underneath here and then just glue it in there. Okay, I'm going to actually turn this, going to cover all the edges with this, turn it upside down so I can see where I'm gluing, and I can just basically push down on it and not burn myself without knowing. Okay, I would know if I burned myself. I mean, foresee the dangers coming, that's what I want to say. And I'm basically using this hem as a guideline of how far I should push it in. So I just went around the whole entire basket, gluing down the t-shirt to the basket so I can have a nice clean finish. You can go with any color here. You can experiment and go with a yellow shirt, a blue shirt, whichever way you want to end this off with. It's up to you. And this is what the basket looked like in the end. For this basket, what I decided to do was I decided to use something that's going to bring texture, it's going to bring color, it's going to give a bit of a boho feel, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like it gives me that boho vibe, and I love the patterns, and texture is basically food for your eyes. So I just like the patterns, and also the whole what do they call the thing again? I just forgot it. But anyways, I loved the whole feel of this, and I'll be using placemats. We have a lot of placemats, guys, in our houses, and sometimes we go out and buy more placemats and more placemats, and we end up not using the old placemats. And you can also incorporate this into your DIY. So that's what I wanted to use. And obviously I'm also going to be adding this fabric that I have left over from when I reupholstered those couches. I will link that video down below. So I'll be reusing that fabric as an inner lining inside my basket, and basically I'm going to have it looking beautiful, clean finish, you know, a great vibe and a great aesthetic. So yeah, that's what I'm doing for this basket. So what I did was I went right ahead and I measured the widest part of this basket and started working with those measurements. I initially made a mistake of not measuring the widest part, and the inside filler didn't actually fit the top area, so that's what we did. And we're also measuring the length of this basket so we can cut our fabric to the perfect size, obviously leaving some seam allowance for us to sew it together, because that's the method we're going to use. You can either glue it down, or you can hand sew it, or in my case I will be using my sewing machine, fastest way, alongside with obviously hot gluing it would also be a fast method. So what I'm doing is I am sewing it on two sides. I'm basically attaching the two pieces on either ends together, and then obviously I have two holes happening, so I'm going to cover the one side so that I can have one opening to this fabric basically like almost you creating a pillowcase but leaving the one side open to put in the filler. But in our situation, we're leaving the one side open so that we can wrap around the basket. So as soon as I was done sewing everything for the second time and everything fit, I glued down the fabric. In this case, I'm using this method because we're going to be using placemats, and for it to have a clean finish, the placemats will be going over the fabric. So I needed it to be a very neat finish by starting off with the fabric. So I'm just going over the top part of the basket and I'm gluing down the fabric, as you can see. If I should say so myself, I really think I'm getting a hang of this, sewing machine thing. I'm figuring everything out and things are coming together. So I am gluing down the placemats to the top of the basket. This project took me 3 placemats and each of them cost me 50 rands. To be more precise, it was 49 rands and 99 cents, but we all know they're not going to give you that 1 cent, so yes, it was 50 rands. So I'm just gluing each and every single placemat on top of one another at the top of the basket, and then wherever they meet, I am going to put some hot glue and attach them to each other and give it a nice strong bond and finish. And this is what they look like at the end. Okay guys, that is it for our beautiful DIY baskets, and honestly they were very inexpensive. Excuse me, I'm sorry, but I've seen baskets like this, slightly even smaller than the one that I DIY'd. They retail around 300 rands going up. So with these ones, they maximum I'd say maybe 200 rands. For the placemat one and the jute twine one, I'd say 100 and something rands, around that figure. Basically 200 rands will take you a long way with these baskets, instead of just spending a hefty amount of money on a basket that looks like that and then is actually quite a bit smaller. So if you guys love this video, give it a thumbs up. If you guys have any comments or any questions about this DIY, comment down below. And obviously if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe, and don't forget to turn on your bell notifications. Guys, you need to stay tuned because I have something a little bit major coming up on my channel, first for me, but also first for you guys on my channel. So I don't want you guys to miss out on any of that stuff. So I am giving you a nice little heads up. Okay, so you do want to turn on your bell notifications for that. With that being said, be kind, love and light.